What's your favorite scary movie?
Oh, come on, you know I don't watch that shit.
Why not? Too scared?
No, it's just what's the point? They're all the same. Some stupid killer stalking some big-breasted girl who can't act, who's always running up the stairs when she should be going out the front door. It's insulting.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 50.
Sure. Hello.
This is Kim and Ket Stay Alive. Maybe.
We are a horror movie comedy podcast, and we are going to tell you the entirety of a horror movie, spoilers and all. And Kim's going to tell it to me this week, and I'm going to try and stay alive in the very same scenarios that our characters find themselves in. Hooray! Ooh.
Are you done?
I am done.
Great.
Yes.
Thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome. Just want to let our new Sammies know what
I
the
know.
game is.
Welcome, new Sammies.
Yeah. How's it going?
Good.
It's great.
How are you?
I'm good. I just had a delicious salad from a place that I really like eating from. I have an inexplicable amount of flies in my apartment, and I don't know why.
Yeah, there's a lot of flies around me.
I don't know why. My favorite part. Gina holes out, tits up.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Ooh.
My landlord doesn't believe in like flush window panes.
Right.
So occasionally if like one fly comes in, they're like, there's a party in here. And then they all come in and my cats try to catch them and then they take the party elsewhere.
Great.
It's
I would appreciate if they would do that.
me too. I would also appreciate if my landlord felt that windows should fit the frames.
That sounds nice.
That would actually be like my favorite thing and my preference.
I mean, I know that you're fancy and all.
I'm
You
so fancy.
Require window panes that
Yeah.
touch the walls.
I'm such a fancy lass.
So you can keep your hearthroom.
My hearthroom from getting drafty. It's a bit drafty in here. I need some windows and actually touch the walls. What am I, a heathen?
Good job.
Thank you. I hope I get to play a role one day where I get to use that voice. Like,
I know
in
you've been
that-
perfecting it your entire life.
I just love doing that voice. It's
One day
so
you're going to be old
pompous.
enough and you'll be
I
like,
know.
this was made for me.
I know. I love it. Do I get to do that voice in the movie that we're watching today?
I'm going to say no.
Aww.
But
Okay.
we do have a review,
Oh my gosh.
and this does have a request.
Okay.
And that is that we beatbox.
Oh.
So this is for,
But I only know one beatboxing beat.
I do
I've already
too.
done
What's
it
yours?
before. That's the only one I know.
Yeah, I only know.
Ooh, that one's good.
Okay, this is for Elgin T.
Elgin T.
ELGIN.
Oh, okay. All right. So here's what we're
Elgin.
going to do.
T.
Here's what we're going to do.
'Kay.
Ready? We're going to try this. So I'm going to come in with my beat. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're going to come in with your beat. Mm-hmm. And then I'm going to drop my beat out and try to say that name. No, you drop your beat out. You start. I'll bring my beat in because I am afraid I'm going to fuck up the name. So you start.
Wait, what are we doing?
So you start. I'll come
Okay.
in with mine. Then you drop and you rap his name.
Great.
You got it?
Yup.
Here we go. That is the most planning we've ever done for one of these. And it's going to be the worst one. Okay.
Especially when the instructions were, and then you rap his name. Great.
Here we go.
I'll get right on that.
Ready? Okay.
Elgin T. Elgin T. Elgin T with a review. Elgin T for me and you. Sorry, guys. I can't freestyle. I can't freestyle.
My favorite is when it just went into Guys, that wasn't a stroke. Kim's okay. She's fine. She just got her little.
I think if anyone's listened to this podcast, freestyling words is probably the least fun. The thing I can do the least. I can't even say words from just speaking. Especially when they're supposed to come quickly.
Oh, yeah. No,
I can do like a long singing. That's why I like more musical theater freestyles.
Because you can hold a note
I can hold it until I have a new one.
Something. I hear you. But you know what you can? Words. You know what you can do fast as shit?
What?
Math.
That's true.
It's really impressive. Your words are numbers.
This is true. And pictures.
My words are words. As evidenced by that last sentence I just said. Shit. You're welcome. Movie?
Oh, thanks for the review, Elgin. Yeah. I'm sorry.
I mean, we really earned that one. I could have prepared
something.
But why?
But boots and cuts is all I have.
Also, I mean, why prepare? Why start preparing now?
Look, I prepared an entire movie for you.
Yeah. I actually covered my ears, so I actually don't know what movie this is.
Good job.
As opposed to closing my eyes and thinking that closed my ears, like Kim did the last episode.
You're a monster. Okay. This has been a requested movie.
Okay.
Multiple times. And and it was from like maybe the very beginning.
Oh.
Like it was requested a long time ago.
Okay.
And I added it to my list, and it's just been on my list for a long time. Mm-hmm. But I promised this person that I would do it. So if anyone has requests, we take them.
Yeah, we take them.
It might take some time, but I'm listening. And if you really want it, you'll request it multiple times, which is what the Spaceman 89 did.
All right. Let's hear it.
And so, yeah, we're on social media at kksampodcast, or you can email us kksampodcast@gmail.com.
Correct.
And send us your requests if you want.
You can also go to our website at kimandketstaylive.com, and we have like a contact section where you can like send us requests too if you want. What else you want?
This is for you, the Spaceman 89.
All right. What is it?
It's spring.
Oh.
Do you know what that is?
I thought I did for a second, and then I didn't. So let's see.
Well, the reason you might know it a little bit is because we know the filmmakers-ish, but didn't, I don't know, we'll go into it.
Okay.
So it's produced by Rustic Films.
Oh, that's what, okay.
Which is our friend Dave Lawson's company.
Yay! Okay, so that's why it was like ringing all kinds of bells. Okay, got it.
We've known Dave since before we moved to LA.
Yep.
Him and I did a film together in Baltimore.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that we went to college together too, but then I'm never sure about that.
Wait,
like I always
did
just
he
say,
not go to Towson?
I just say that he does always. I'm like, we went to college together, but then I'm like, but did we? Or were you just there
in Baltimore
and we did a film together? I know we did a film together.
No, I know, but my mind is blowing out my asshole right now.
Yeah. And then the writer, director, and also one of the producers is Justin Benson, who we've met. And then Aaron Moorehead, who I don't think we've met, is the writer, or excuse me, the co-director and also the cinematographer. And then they all run Rustic Films.
Sweet.
So, there you go, Dave Lawson. I fucking paid for this on Amazon, so you're welcome.
What the fuck? We expect reimbursement.
Side note, speaking of Dave Lawson, he also runs a thing called Scripts Gone Wild.
Yes.
It's a week from today, actually. So, let me just look it up. So we're doing Beetlejuice.
Which is one of my all-time favorite movies.
And basically, it's like a stage reading of the script, and the people acting have to drink the whole time, and like you pick certain words, and if that word is like said everyone has to drink, or everyone has to drink, and then if you stumble or anything like that, you have to drink. I went and saw their last one where they did Scream, and it was so much fun.
Oh my god, that sounds amazing. I couldn't go. Why couldn't I go? Why wasn't I there?
Out of town?
Oh, I was out of town. Yeah.
So it's going to be August 28th which is next Wednesday at El Cid on Sunset in LA. So if anyone wants to go, you should fucking go. It's going to be lots of fun.
Fuck yeah.
You can
and
go
Dave's
to
a super cool dude. Anything he
Dave's
involves
amazing.
himself in just ends up being the most fun thing ever.
Yeah, he's super fun and awesome, and we're very grateful for him.
Yeah.
And so it's at Scripts Gone Wild on Instagram or scriptsgonewild.cam.
That was com, everyone, not .cam.
Cam. Yeah, Cam. This is spring.
Spring has sprung.
Trigger warning for you, Ketryn. There's animal horror.
Okay. All right. Thank you for telling me.
You're welcome. Dead or alive?
All the animals alive.
Evan.
Boy or girl?
Boy.
Alive.
Louise.
Alive.
Angelo.
Dead.
Tommy.
Dead.
Mom.
Alive.
Okay.
Okay. So few dead or alive. Okay.
We'll maybe get into it as we go as to like what your goal is.
Oh, it's
We'll
not
see.
to stay alive?
I mean, it's to stay alive. We'll see.
Okay.
It's always to,
Stay alive-ish.
stay alive-ish.
Live a fulfilled life.
Yes.
Okay. Great.
Live a fulfilled life is really...
That's what we're
That's for
dealing
sure.
with. Okay,
Yeah.
great.
So we start on a black screen and we just hear heavy breathing, slow, like heavy breathing. And we show onto a guy sitting, staring. And we hear a little beep and he gets up and kind of changes something on like a nightstand that's like a water machine sort of thing. And then we pull out a little and see that it's a lady on her deathbed.
Oh, boo.
And she says, and she is like on her deathbed.
Like about to kick Le Bouquet.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
And she's like, Evan. And he's like, hey, hi, are you hungry, thirsty? And she just goes, I love you. And he's like, I love you too, Mom. And she asks him about work. And she's like, are you happy? And then she goes and like tells him a joke and stuff. And then she's like struggling a little bit. And he's like, do you need more morphine? And then she kind of just stares. And he's like, do you want me to call a priest? And we kind of see like a final chest breath.
Oh.
And Evan says, I think you two were amazing and I'm grateful for everything. And then it's just like a zoom in on them holding hands, which I'm going to cry right now and maybe cry then because like I have that exact
you and your
picture of
grandma.
me and my mom. Like because I was like there
Yeah.
when she took her last breath. And like, yeah, it's just like their hands holding and I have the same picture.
My mom has that picture of her and Susan holding hands, and Allison also has it of her and Susan holding hands.
Sweet.
Yeah, it's so sweet.
And then title card spring. So now Evan is at a bar and he works there, it seems, but he's sitting at the bar drinking. It's after the funeral with him and his friend, and they're drinking and talking about how it was just very small. It was intimate, you know, and Evan's like, well, my parents were only children and their parents died young. He's like, it was really just the three of us. And then there's kind of some chick in the corner who's just drunk and kind of screaming, just getting rowdy a little bit.
Oh, I didn't know you were in this movie.
Ah, fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you. You know what, Ketryn? Fucking shut up. Fucking shut your mouth, Ketryn. So he kind of like gets up to go to the bathroom or something, and she kind of bumps into him. And then her boyfriend gets all pissed and is like, you're trying to steal my girl. And he's like, all fucking like ghetto as shit and like trying to fight him.
Yeah.
And then the Evans friend at the bar is like, whoa, like calm down, man. And ghetto dude boyfriend is like, do you have a cigarette? And Evan's just like, I roll my own. And the friend at the bar is like, I have one here. Let me get them. And he reaches in his pocket. But at the same time, we see that ghetto dude grabs a bottle from the table next to him. So Evan punches him in the face.
Shit.
And his like gold tooth like flies out his fucking mouth.
Oh my.
And punches him again. And then he's on the ground. And Evan kicks him. And he kicks him. And he kicks him. And he kicks him until like Evan's friend has to like drag him outside.
Yeah. Evan's working through some
yeah,
stuff.
he's got some feelings. He's got some feelings happening. So now they're outside of the bar, like in the back alley drinking. And the manager comes out and he's like, bro, the fucking cops were here. They found 4 teeth on the ground. Like, what the fuck?
Christ.
And like, he gives him ice for his hand. And he's like, Evan, maybe you need like a little change of environment for a while. Your whole family died.
Right. Yeah.
And he's like, what, are you firing me? And he's like, no, we're not firing you. But like the owner doesn't want you to come back right now. And then they kind of have like some funny banter because they're like, you know, fucking shithole Carl. I was able to bring shithole Carl back and he sucks. And they're like, yeah, shithole Carl still works here.
Aww.
So, you know, maybe you can come back.
Good old shithole Carl.
Something like, I don't remember what the name was, but something like that.
It's only shithole Carl.
It's definitely shithole Carl.
Yeah.
He got fired and got to come back. So they're kind of like, they bust each other's balls a little bit. So Evan and his friend, whose name we find as Tommy. So Evan and Tommy leave, and as they're walking away, we kind of see like a car turns on its lights and maybe follows them.
Oh no.
So now Evan and Tommy are drinking on the front porch, and Evan's like, I mean, do you need help down at like the boats?
Yeah.
And Tommy's like, bro, I smell like tuna for 4 years. Like, he's like, smell my hand. And Evan's like, I mean, I have like an inheritance coming, I guess. Like, maybe I could go somewhere. And right then, the ghetto dude pulls up in his car. And he's just like, now I know where you live.
The de-toothed fellow?
The de-toothed fellow.
Oh.
And they kind of yell at each other a little bit. And the dude drives off. And Evan's like, fuck. They're going to call the police. They're going to sue me. And then they're going to come back with baseball bats.
I mean, yeah. That's about how that's going to play out, Evan. You're correct.
Yeah. So they're drinking and the friend is, I don't know, but he ends up leaving because he's like, I'm not going to sleep in your mom's deathbed.
Right.
And he's like, you know what, though? You should get like a sympathy fuck from someone.
Oh, you should get a sympathy fuck.
And Evan's like, nah, man. And Tommy leaves. Cut to Evan making out with a chick in his bed.
Nice.
And he's looking for a condom. And he's like kind of digging through his drawer and he pulls out a passport. She kind of starts looking at it and she's like, what do you have this for? Like, where'd you go? And he's like, well, we were going to go to Italy after college, but it never happened. And then the girl says, how do you feel about me? And then there's silence. And she's like, I'm going to go.
Yeah.
And she's like, you know what? Maybe you should get out of town. She's like, my brother was fucked up. He went to India for a while and he was all centered. Oh. And then Evan is just like, okay, and he like falls asleep basically, just
Evan.
drunk. So she does kind of snuggle up to him, but he wakes up alone, sunshine. Someone's knocking on the door. It's the po-po.
Oh dear. Evan cannot catch a break right now.
I know. So question number 1, Ketryn, what does he decide to do and what do you decide to do?
I think Evan decides to jump out the window with his passport or out a back door, go away from the door that the police are in and leave the residence.
And then do what?
Run to that chick's house and is like, let's go to India. What do? I mean, if it's me, fuck. Law enforcement. Because I was like, just have a conversation with the police. But like, I did fucking detooth a human. Here's the thing. I don't want to be here for these cops. And I don't want to be here when the detoothed gentleman comes back with baseball bats. So I'm also going to bail. I'm going to grab my passport and anything else important that I have. And like, I'm going to kind of lean into this I have no ties life. And I'm going to get the fuck out of here and get on a plane to another country. Goodbye. Yay!
He literally just like looks at his passport, and it's like cut to him being in an Uber pool calling an airline.
I love that it's an Uber pool.
It's 100% an Uber pool because there's just people around him, and he's like, just book me on it. He's on the phone. He's like, just book me on a flight, like anywhere. I don't know. And then he asks, he's like, where should I go? Like the people next to him.
That's amazing.
It's cut to him drinking on a plane,
right?
And
he's got inheritance coming. You do you, girl.
He needs a break.
He does. He really needs a break.
Deserves a fucking vacation.
Yeah.
So cut to Evan walking around Rome.
Oh, Rome is what he chose.
Rome.
How lovely.
Now he's going to a hostel, and there's like a bar inside, and there's a couple British men. My favorite.
Kim, calm down.
He asks them where he can get like an Italian phrase book, and they're like, "Come drink with us, mate."
I thought you were gonna say Italian food. I was like, "You're in Italy, bro." Italian phrase book.
Literally every restaurant,
is only Italian food. Okay,
and they're like over there, but they're like, "Come drink with us, mate."
British. That's right. You said British.
And they're all drinking and like looking at some ladies. Mm-hmm. And Evan goes up and actually talks to the chicks, and they're Italian. And he's like, ciao. And
which he was asking for ciao, like Italian food. I'll see myself out. It's fine.
Goodbye.
You can tell a story to
goodbye
cats.
So the Brits are all chatting with him, and they're like, we're going to go get a car and go down the coast. Do you want to go?
Yes, I do.
Great. Yeah. Question number 2. Do you want to go? Do you go?
So he met these dudes in the hostel?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, here's what I'm going to do. He goes. He's like, let's go down the Amalfi Coast with these dudes. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm also going to go. But I am going to text my whereabouts and my info to a dear friend, perhaps one at the bar, to be like, hey, I'm in Italy. Not going to say exactly where, but just so you know, I'm going down the coast with these people so that if anything should happen, there is record of me to maybe find my murdered body. That hopefully won't be murdered because I'm trying to stay alive. Yay!
Cut to Evan in the car. They're all drinking.
While driving?
It appears so. At least him and the passenger are drinking.
Can you do that?
Maybe the driver isn't. We'll give them the benefit of the doubt.
Let's say the driver's
but
not.
I don't know.
Let's say the driver's not.
They're definitely drinking and laughing and having a good time using lots of British words that I know so well.
Okay.
Like mate and cunt. Geezer.
I like the
bird.
word cunt.
And
bird?
Bird is how they say girls.
When they talk I was like, can we say bird too?
A geezer is a dude, and then a bird is
a lady.
A lady that you're like trying to talk to. So Evan is driving now while the past driver is sleeping in the back.
Okay.
So it's him and like Brit number 1 kind of chatting, and it's just a really beautiful Italian coast. And the Brit starts talking about birds and one he was in love with. And
cute.
And he says that she left him for a DJ. 2 years later, sees her in a supermarket, fat, sunburnt, disgusting. I loved it. And Evan
That's what happens when you go for a DJ.
Yeah. Evan is like slowly kind of like tearing up. Maybe not from the story per se, but just his life.
Yeah.
Like he's just like staring ahead and like slightly wiping tears away. And the Brit's like, most men don't share their emotions like I do.
All men, you should all share your emotions. Girls like it.
You absolutely should. It's the best. Not sure that's what this British fellow was doing. But
you get what I'm saying. Yes.
Yeah, no. Like he's just, it's a joke.
Got it.
So now the boys are walking through a town square, and Evan sees a beautiful Italian woman, and she smiles at him. They go into a hostel, and now the Brits are like bickering about the Wi-Fi code and if they gave it to each other or not.
Okay.
And now they're at the dinner like having dinner or drinks, and one of the Brits is like, you know the problem with Yanks?
Oh,
they don't play rugby. And they're loud. They're fucking loud.
Oh, I've been told that on many occasions by more than one European person.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry about it.
So now the Italian beauty is at the bar. Evan is like, I'm going to get the next round.
Oh.
And he goes up and talks to her, and he's actually like really sweet, but there's no reply.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, fuck, do you speak English?
Mm-hmm.
And she looks at him and says, I need a drink.
Oop.
And he's like, well, come sit with me and my friends. And she's just like, no, leave with me.
This bitch do not play.
And they have a little banter. And he's like, why don't you just like go out with me tomorrow night? And she like wants to go now.
Okay.
And he gets a little suspicious then because he's like, are you going to rob me?
Maybe.
And she's like, no, I just don't date.
Oh.
And he's like, let's have a bottle of wine tomorrow night. And she's like, you made this so much more complicated.
Yeah.
And she's like, kind of starts to weigh. And he's like, maybe though. And she's like, right. And she leaves.
Oh.
And then the Brits all like laugh at him.
Yeah. Yeah.
So now it's morning. The Brits are leaving. They're going to Amsterdam.
Hey.
Question number 3. Do you go? Does he go?
Yeah, same thing, but I'm going to be keeping somebody updated as to every place that I'm going to. Like, I'm going to be trackable just because I'm very aware of the possibility of international murder. And domestic murder, to be honest. So
Possibility of murder is always there.
yeah, so he's going to go, but he's not going to take the same precautions as me. I'm also going to go, but make someone aware of my travels. No, wait! He stays back to fuck that chick. I think I'm still going to go to Amsterdam.
Okay. Here's where I need to figure out the rules. I'll give you a point for him.
Okay. Because he stays back to fuck that chick?
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like the goal, if you're him in the questions, the goal is to like not be alone in life.
Oh, that was not my goal.
And to stay alive.
Okay, well then
Both.
I might need to argue for this point then, because to me, if
I was
he's
still
trying
gonna
not
give
to be
you-
alone, like this is not the chick based on what she's given him. This is not the chick that's going to make him feel less alone.
Yeah, no, I was actually going to let you re-answer that. I was only giving a bell. I was only answering one question.
I see.
I was giving
You were giving me a bell for what he does.
Yeah. And then you can still to be honest, you could say either and I don't know.
Yeah, because this chick doesn't, but maybe he's going to make some really great friends or find himself.
I feel like it's like to not be alone, maybe find love. Like he's very sweet.
Okay.
So I feel like love and aliveness
Love and aliveness. Okay.
is what he's looking for.
Is what I'm looking
and
for.
what you're looking for.
Okay. All right. I hear you.
I think.
I'm with you.
I'm just giving you a point because I really don't know.
Because
either
friendships are just as important as evidenced by our friendship.
way. Right.
Okay.
So he's staying.
Okay.
Cut to him walking along like a mountain coast, and he sees this kind of board that has signs posted all over it that say Rosaria Labate. And on it is one of those signs that has the little pull down phone number things, pull off phone numbers.
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh.
And it says room for work,
Oh, okay.
like trade room
Yeah.
for work. So he pulls a number. Cut to him walking onto a farm.
Okay.
And he asks an old man about the room. The guy brings him into the room. It's very small and dingy. And then cut to the man making dinner for him. And yum, does it look good. Italian.
Oh, my God. What is it? Can
They
you tell?
know food. I don't know. It was a smorgasbord of deliciousness.
God.
Fresh deliciousness.
That sounds amazing. Pasta somewhere in there?
I'm sure. He was definitely I think he was cutting what seemed like a large amount of cheese.
Yes. How are you?
I was really into it.
Yeah, me too. Jerry O'Connell cheese.
Okay. So they're talking
People
about
that didn't listen to our previous minisode think I just said Jerry O'Connell cheese.
I mean,
for
you
no
did
reason.
Just say Jerry O'Connell
I
cheese.
did. I did just say that. You know what? Take a quick little pause. Go listen to
Satanic Panic
minisode and learn that I'm not insane.
So they're talking about olive trees, which is what I can assume is the farm, and how the old man's wife died in a car accident.
Oh, no.
And he does a little cheers to her, and he says, "Women, jewels of the world."
Truth.
And Evan's like, "Jews?" And he's like, "Jews."
Oh.
And he's like, "Jews?" Jews.
Juice.
Which is how I feel at work a lot.
That's it, yeah.
I work with a lot of Italian people. And I'm always like,
Juice?
staring blankly at their faces, being like, "What?"
That's hilarious.
Jewels of the world.
Jewels.
That's what he said. Cut to Evan walking through an alley, it seems, but like a pretty Italian alley, you know?
European alleys are so much
better than American alleys.
Oh my God. So
I
much.
mean, what are
literally,
we doing with our alleys?
You
America?
could just take that paragraph that we just said and replace alleys with pretty much any
All
other
the things.
word. Yeah.
European insert word here
is so much better than American insert word here.
So we kind of hear like a cat making some noise. There's like an old lady with white eyes that's kind of watching from above.
Oh, no.
And then he sees Beauty.
Hi.
And he runs up to her and he's like, "I just moved here." And kind of asking her out again. Her name's Louise. And she's like, "I don't know." And she ends up walking into a museum. And so he goes in and they're looking at a painting and he's like, "That's a huge cock." And it really was a huge cock in that painting. It for the size of everything else in it.
Can you please post-mortem that cock for me?
Sure.
Great.
I'll
Thank
look
you.
into it. And she's like, "That's like a fertility symbol or something." And he makes a joke about how it's Roman porn. And he's like, "So what are you, an artist?" And like kind of talks about how he was a cook and now he's a farmer. And she's like, okay. And she says she's a student of evolutionary genetics.
Whoa.
Yeah. She's researching in this town because not many people like move away or immigrate here.
Oh, interesting.
So basically he's like ruining her. He's like, "So I'm ruining your
thesis,
your research,
yeah,
by immigrating here." She's like, basically. And they're kind of walking towards the end, and there's this painting of a woman, and she has a green eye and a brown eye. And Beauty says, "Do you like her?" And he says, "She's beautiful." So now they're getting coffee, and his hand is still wrapped up from the tooth fight. And she asks about that, and he's like, "Well, I punched a guy, da-da-da." And she's like, "Well, we're all human." And they kind of look over to the side of them, and there's like old men sitting playing chess, you know?
Cute.
And she's like, her family would come here when she was a kid.
I aspire to be an old man playing chess in a park.
Do you?
I do.
What a great life.
Just being like, well, another day, another morning, read my book for an hour, go play chess. I don't know how to play chess, though. I don't.
Maybe start that while
I'll
your
start
brain's
there.
still on.
Still working. Yeah. I'll start there.
Great. We all have goals. And, you know, she's kind of like, "I sometimes wonder if it's like the same guy still playing there, you know?" And he says, "You don't sound Italian." And she doesn't. Like, she has some slight accent, you know, but it's not that strong. And she's like, "Well, I traveled a lot, so my accent is weird as fuck." And I was like, "Feel you, girl."
That's amazing.
My accent is
weird as fuck.
I don't even fucking know. A little Philly, a little Maryland, probably some California at this point.
Yeah.
And she's like, "We moved around England, America, New York." And he's like, "Never been." And she's like, "What? I thought all Americans have been to New York."
Nope.
And he's
honestly,
like,
America
"No."
would be better if all Americans went to at least New York.
At least.
For 3 days.
Right.
3 days.
Experience anything outside of your town.
Anything at all.
I think he's from California.
Okay.
So then they're kind of talking about exes for whatever reason, etc. And she talks about her last ex they would drink wine and he would write her love letters or something like that.
Hello.
I know.
Jerry O'Connell.
Give it to me, Jerry. Give me a love letter.
Yeah.
So she's like, "Write me a love letter." And so he writes something. He writes her like a little thing and then gives it to her. And they both just smile at each other.
Adorbs.
I know. It's cute. So now they're having a bottle of wine and they're chatting about jobs, etc. And he's kind of like, you know, like, what the fuck am I doing with my life?
I hear you, girl.
Because he's like,
life.
I was a cook and now I'm a farmer.
Yeah.
I don't
My
know.
parents are
I got
dead. What am I
fired.
doing?
And she's like, well, at least you're living. And so she grabs a bottle of wine and she's like, let's go somewhere. And now they're kind of on like this almost like balcony over like a cliff sort of area. And like there's kind of like a cave like in the water below, but they're like up high, you know, and she's like pretends to kind of like start to jump over and she's like, we're going into the cave.
Oh my God.
She's
this
like,
sounds like the opposite of a horror movie right now.
I know.
Like I'm just like, can I have this life?
Are you just falling in love right now?
Yeah, like the horror is that I'm not doing
Living
this
life
right now.
currently.
Yeah.
Agreed. And she's like, I bet there's dead sailors in there. And he's like, how do you believe in dead sailor or like ghosts in there? You know, and he's like, I thought you were a scientist. And then she starts talking about names and she says something like, all crystals are sluts. Something. And she's like, Evans are nice. And he's like, oh, so
Yeah.
you do kind of like me then.
Oh. Is her name Crystal? Did she call herself a slut?
No, I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I don't even know if she said sluts. That's all like, I couldn't remember.
okay,
She said someone's name.
Did
I might have
Kim
made that up.
just call Crystal all crystals a slut? I'm
so
sorry,
sorry,
our friend
crystals.
Crystal. There's always an exception to every
She said
rule.
something along
All
those
Kims
lines.
are cunts.
Fucking, you know.
I mean, call a
when
spade
you're
a
right,
spade.
you're right. So she's kind of talking about maybe about her shit a little bit, and she's like, I don't even know, I like barely understand myself. And he's like, I'm just a simple dude. And then they see the thing he'd seen before with like the Rosario signs all over something.
Oh yeah. I'm sorry, remind me.
It's where he found the work for room.
Oh, the
thing,
work
but
for room
it had like a bunch of signs with like Rosario Labate over them.
Okay, great.
And a bunch of like religious shit kind of all too. And Rosario apparently was a girl, and Beauty says that she drowned a few months ago.
Oh.
And she kind of talks about like the religious shit that's up there. And she's like, I don't know. I don't get it. Like if there's God and whatever, why would God do that to a little girl?
Yeah.
And Evan's like, yeah, I mean, I guess we're all going to die. Mm-hmm. So then he kind of tells some random funny story, and then he kisses her. And then they're making out.
Hey.
And as
Who's
they're making
named Crystal
out,
now?
don't slut shame.
I'm sorry. I love sluts. I'm a slut.
Sluts are the best.
Sluts are the
We're
best.
sluts.
Slut it up.
Slut, 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 slut,
Slut, slut, slut, slut.
It's not a dirty word.
It is not.
So as they're making out, kind of next to them, there's some greenery, and roses kind of start to bloom.
Oh, dear.
And now they're in bed, and it's hot.
Hey.
And it's hot, hot, hot. Hey, hey,
Is this-
hey,
give
Jerry O'Connell.
Jerry O'Connell. All right, give me a vibe of what Evan looks like.
He's got like a buzzed blonde head.
So he's blonde.
Yeah, but it's like buzzed. He's very sweet looking.
Is he baby facey?
Maybe
I'm
a
just
little
trying
bit.
to see if like he's my type or if I need to like.
Oh, he's probably not your type.
Okay, so from this point
She's more
forward,
your type.
what's her
She's
whole thing?
hot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
dark hair, dark eyes.
Well, yeah. Dark hair, dark eyes.
Love it.
European. Traveled.
Oh, I love it. I
Yeah.
love it. So what I'm
Confident.
picturing is, oh yes. All right. So what I'm picturing is her, and then Michael Fassbender, current age.
sure.
Yeah, that's what I got going on. Continue.
Maybe think of like baby Michael Fassbender, which I don't know.
No. Old weathered Michael Fassbender, current day. That's what I'm
Just for
picturing.
the sex scene.
Yeah, just for the sex.
But
scene.
like,
yeah.
for like
No,
the
I'm sorry.
living, it's more helpful to think
No.
of him as in his 20s.
No. Just for the sex scenes. This little blonde dude just taps out just for the sex scenes, tags Michael Fassbender in, and then he tags out when he's done.
So he grabs a condom, and they kind of like roll around, and she gets on top and throws the condom away. So now they're sleeping in bed. Evan's asleep, and we scroll over and see Beauty with a dead looking /zombie /corpse face with like twitchy veins on the side and black teeth, and she's like and wakes up, and she has like almost claws. And then we're like out in the alleyway now, And we just are like, we're from far away, kind of see something walking down the alley, but like stumbling, and it's like naked. And I'm like, her question mark?
Oh no.
And then it's stumbling and sees a cat and jumps on it.
And then hugs it?
Evan waking up in bed, and the bed is empty.
Okay.
Cut to Evan doing farming things with the old man, learning farming from the old man. Angelo's the old man.
Sure.
And also learning some Italian words and things like that. And he pets a little kitten. It's very cute. Aww. Cut to Beauty. And it's just a close-up of eyes. Like her eyes. And one is brown and one is green. And she's putting
a contact
in. So now she has 2 brown eyes.
And so when she was like, do you think she's beautiful? Oh, it was her. Maybe. Okay.
Well,
no, but I mean, like she was asking because she has that.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. And then she's in the bathroom kind of looking in the mirror, putting her contact in. And then her skin kind of like goes, like the sunlight shines in and it kind of like sizzles her hand a little bit.
Oh, no.
And so now she grabs like a bottle that has just a sad face written on it and takes out a syringe and injects whatever's in there into her hand.
Oh, gosh. Darn it.
Cut to a cleanup crew picking up a dead
cat?
Skinned cat in the alley. And
it was fake though, right?
For sure fake.
Okay, cool.
Definitely.
It was just like a really well-made prop.
Right.
Great.
And so now it's daytime and Evan is sitting at the same table that they were at last night drinking wine. He's kind of like looking around and he gets up and kind of walks through the neighborhood. He walks by a gelato store and inside he sees Beauty.
Gelato!
And he's like, this town is small, eh?
Hey.
And he's like, you snuck out last night. And she kind of just stares at him and she's like, sorry? And he's like, last night you stuck out. And she's like, I don't recall.
Know who you are?
And then she starts laughing.
Oh, fuck you.
So now they're walking and eating gelato. She finishes hers. She finishes his. She's like, I like to eat.
I
and
love
I'm like, yes,
this
queen,
bitch.
me too. Give me some food. Give me that cheese, that gelato, and that Jerry O'Connell.
Ooh, I like this little chant.
Woo. So they're talking and he's like, sees a tobacco store and he's like, oh, do you mind if I pop in real quick? And I guess she says something about how it's gross because it is smoking cigarettes.
Agreed.
And Evan's like, will you go out with me tomorrow if I quit? And she's like, don't quit for me.
I mean, it's true. Quit for yourself.
True. So now we're at Beauty's house. And she has a cage that has 2 rabbits in it. And she's like, I adopted them from the lab, just finding a home for them.
Okay. I appreciate you adopting them from experiments. Thank you. Please don't skin and eat them. Bye.
And so Evan wants to put on some music. And she's looking through, or he looks through her phone to put on something. And he's like scrolling through her music. And he's like, there's shit from like all different languages in here. And he's like, do you speak them? And then she's like, I mean, I speak Italian, French, Chinese, German, and she names like 15 languages.
Me too.
I know. Me too.
Me too.
I can barely speak English. Let's be real.
Me too.
So he starts smoking. She sits next to him and takes a little drag of the cigarette. And he's like, hypocrite.
Right?
And
cut to me every time Sophia would have a cigarette when we were in our 20s.
So, okay. A lot of times you're going to be him, but sometimes you're going to be her.
Okay.
And so with her, your goal is to not get caught.
Not get caught. Got it.
So she's sitting next to him, grabbing a little drag of the cigarette. And on the other side of her is a mirror. And she looks in it and her thigh is kind of like melty, rotty a little bit.
Oh, no.
So question 4, what does she do? What do you do? She's like cooking him dinner. And she was in the kitchen cooking him dinner. He was in the living room. And so she popped over to the living room. Like a little dress.
Short dress?
Yeah.
Okay. Got it.
And it's her home. Yeah.
I'm going to pretend to spill something on my dress. Be like, oh my God, I'm such an idiot. I'm sorry. Let me just go change real quick. And I'm going to go change and I'm going to put on like a long flowy skirt with no underwear because I'm no fool.
And what does she do?
Oh, what does she do? I forgot. So she's standing.
No, she's sitting on the couch.
She went to go sit. I mean, she's got to do something with her clothes, I would imagine, like to cover it up. Fuck it. I think she goes and changes her clothes too. Yay!
So she's like, oh, hey, will you watch the soup while I use the restroom? And she runs upstairs and she grabs a syringe. Or she grabs a syringe from the fridge, actually, and she runs upstairs. And we see outside that there's a full moon in the distance. And then we see a hairy claw hand turn on the water in the tub.
Oh, no.
Evan's downstairs watching the soup.
Sure.
And Beauty is transitioning to a werewolf ?
Oh, my.
Or something. And gets into the tub and injects herself in the throat.
Oh, geez. Okay.
And then she runs downstairs. She has like in a towel with her hair all wet. And she's just like kind of pops her head over and she's like, do you ever just feel like you need a shower like immediately? And he's like, I don't know. I that must be like a girl thing.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm just going to go to the beach on Sunday. And she's like, what? Like, you only shower at the beach?
Yeah. Wait, just to be clear, what we saw in the mirror was like sort of like rotted flesh type of situation.
Maybe.
But then what we saw was like a hairy wolf type of situation. So I'm picturing two different skin scenarios. Is that so far
it's
that's
a lot
accurate?
of skin scenario. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So but those are two.
All
okay.
of it is unclear
right now. Okay. Yeah. I just want to make sure that I wasn't.
It just seemed brown and goopy on her leg.
Brown and goopy on her leg, and then hairy or hairy and goopy?
I would say hairy goopy.
Hairy goop. Got it.
Yeah. And so
he's going to shower at the beach.
She runs back up. She comes back downstairs in clothes now with like jeans and a sweater. And he's talking about going to the beach on Sunday. And will she come? And she's like, I can't. I'm taking medicine that makes my skin sun sensitive. And he's like, what? So I only get to see you at night? And then she makes a joke about like, yeah, I mean, you'll meet my husband and kids one day or something.
That's funny.
So now they're eating soup.
She's adorable. I'm in
they're
love with her.
They're cute. Like, I'm in too.
Yeah.
They're both adorbs.
Thruple.
Whoop, whoop. Eating soup, asking what's in it, kind of, etc. She makes jokes about meat being in it, but it's vegetarian. And she's like, I try to be vegetarian, but sometimes I crave meat. So now the two of them are just like asleep on the couch, like clothed. Just sweet. And he kind of gets up and like covers her with a blanket. And he's like, I gotta go to work.
Oh my God. Adorbs.
Adorbs. And he goes to take a piss in the bathroom real quick before he leaves. And he sees the needle syringe on the floor.
Right. Oh no.
Cut to him on the farm with Angelo. And he's telling him about this girl that he loves. And he's just like, I think Angelo's saying how Italian women are the best. And there's a little kind of goopiness on a tree. And Angelo calls it root rot. And I was like, oh, interesting.
Oh.
So now Evan is on top of a mountain, cliffy kind of thing. And there's Jesus stuff around.
Oh. Willem Dafoe stuff around.
Willem Dafoe stuff.
We're really requiring everyone to listen to every episode.
If you want our jokes. If you want to get our jokes, listen to every episode.
Yeah, we're just going to keep telling jokes to each other. If you want to be in on them, that's on you.
Yeah, that's your problem. You fucking listen, bro. So, when did Willem Dafoe play Jesus? I should have asked you this.
Passions of the Christ.
Did he? Willem Dafoe?
No, hold on. He definitely played
Jesus?
Jesus. He definitely played Jesus. Hold on. The Last Temptation of the Christ. So not Passion of the Christ. The Last Temptation of Christ.
Great.
So he played Jesus.
I think I missed them both. So
yeah, 1988. Good Lord. Yes.
Well, that makes more sense because I could only think of current Willem Dafoe, and I was like, he seems a little old for Jesus.
Seems a little not 33 for Jesus. Yeah.
So there's some type of Jesus stuff around, and he looks down, and like below him, kind of inside a thing, is like a dead goat with like
Stop.
Ketryn.
I know. I'm sorry.
I'm going to tell this story. You can't be overwhelmed by fucking dead animals the whole time.
Okay.
I gave you a trigger warning.
Okay. Got it.
So we didn't have to pause every time.
Okay. Dead goat. Got it.
There's a dead goat and it has like a yellow snake like crawling through its mouth.
No.
Yeah.
Like in real life, or is he having like...
Seems like real life.
All right.
Like it seems like a pretty dead for a long time goat, like a bone situation, and then just a snake, like crawling through it.
Okay.
Like probably just died from life goat.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Animals die too.
I know.
So cut to the two of them at dinner. They're talking about his job, and he asks about the syringe. And Beauty says it's not drugs. I have a medical condition. It comes and goes. It's a long story. He has to take a picture, and he's like, I haven't used my phone at all. And she's like, what about your family? Or like, what are they? And he's like, they're great. And he hands someone else like the phone to take a picture.
Okay.
And they do a quick little thing, and he looks at it. He's like, you moved, because she's like all like fuzzy in the picture.
Interesting.
And then she's like, tell me about your family. And he tries to like kind of just like hold the phone in front of her to just take a picture of just her. And she gets up and leaves. And he follows after her, and she's like, you just want to fuck a foreign girl and take a picture and show your friends. She's like, I try to ask you something real, like about your family, and you just fucking like won't do anything. So they're on like a stone beach now. And Evan's like, look, my family is just a fucked up story, okay? He says, my dad died of a heart attack. My mom got cancer a few weeks after that. I had to leave college so I could go home and take care of her for a couple years, and she died last week.
Oh my God. That is devastating.
And Beauty says, I like you. You have the same backstory as Batman.
Oh. I love this bitch. Cute. I'm so into this bitch.
And she's like, aren't you mad? Like, even if you don't believe in a higher power or anything, like, aren't you just mad? And he's like, yeah, I mean, mad at something.
Yes. I so relate to that.
He's like, I feel guilty thinking about work when like my whole family died. But at the end of the day, I'm just a grown-ass man who misses his parents.
Ouch.
I know. So he's like, tell me something now. And she says, I have 2 different colored eyes. And she takes out the contact. And he's like, beautiful. So now back to Evan on the farm. This one tree has 2 fruits. It's like a lemon's orange.
I'm sorry?
Lemon's
tree?
He actually makes a similar joke.
Okay.
It's like lemons and orange.
Is that a thing?
Well, he asks Angelo, he's like, how does it have like multiple fruits on one tree? And Angelo cuts off part, like a stem from one, and then just like connects it to another tree. And then he's like, old tree uses new tree.
Wow.
And then Angelo points to like the side, and there's like a big volcano kind of in the distance from them. Maybe he says something about it. I don't know.
Hope it's not important.
I know he points it out.
Okay.
Basically, we see there's a volcano in the distance.
End scene.
Volcano. Allora, a volcano.
What was
allora means just like, okay, look, let me tell you.
Okay, yeah.
Allora, like they just say it all the time. Allora. Che cazzo. So cut to Beauty in science gear at work, and she's like swabbing some guy's mouth, and he's walking out, and the guy's like, what's that awful smell, as he leaves.
Uh-oh.
And then she it's just her in the office now, and she like smells herself and like opens her coat a little bit, and her arm is kind of like rotty, melty.
Oh.
Goopy, brown, I don't know, transition-y, I don't know. She opens the fridge and grabs what looks like a bag of like meat or something, and she smells it and then just throws it back into the fridge and is like, ugh, like frustrated.
Poor thing.
So now Beauty is walking with a basket into like a cave, and she looks unwell. She starts playing some music, and she lights some candles. She pulls out 2 rabbits, and she looks skinny as fuck,
baby,
and like decomposy,
baby,
or something.
Oh.
And she is reading kind of like a cult book or something, and she stabs one of the rabbits and puts the blood on the wall in like a specific way that she's like reading from the book.
Right.
And she is kind of doing that, and then it's almost as if she's like feeling herself like lose control a little, because she like knocks everything over and just like huddles into the corner and just holds herself, and then she runs at the rabbit and eats it.
Oh. Poor thing.
And then it's like cut to skin question mark being dropped on the floor, like big loads of skin, like oozy that she's just dropping. And then we kind of just see her back that looks maybe new and fresh question mark. And I'm just like, did she shed her skin? I don't know what's happening.
Okay.
So now Evan is at Beauty's house. She's laying on the couch and it's just like, it was a bad day. And, you know, kind of, he's like, maybe you're sick. And so he gives her a blanket and he's just cute.
What a sweet little bunny.
I know. Speaking of bunnies, he's like, what happened to the bunnies?
Oh, no.
And she's like, oh, we found a home for them.
In my belly.
It's just an empty cage now. And there's a book open on the living room table with like all kinds of genetic stuff on it, like evolutionary kind of things. And Evan's like, oh, my friend Tommy was born with a tail. And Beauty's like, I doubt he is one of the 23 like people ever to be born with a tail.
What?
Which I was like, really?
I feel like there's more people born with tails.
I know.
I feel like I know someone who was born with a tail.
But maybe that's what people say. I don't know. But she, according to her, one of 23 cases ever.
Maybe the thing that we are thinking of is just like a little protruding end
like
of
a little boop.
A little boop, as opposed to like a tail.
Maybe there's 23 cases of a tail.
I wish I was
but many
one.
more boops.
Wouldn't it be so cool if I had a tail?
No.
Why?
What are you going to do with your tail?
I don't know.
Ew.
Just like be cool.
No.
It's like fucking
Good luck with that.
cut a little tail hole in all my pants. Be
Good
like,
luck.
excuse me.
Good luck with that being cool.
I'd make it cool, bitch.
I'm just kidding.
Touch my
you
tail.
be you, Ketryn.
Thank
you
you.
know what? You be you. You're beautiful however you are.
Thank you.
They have a sweet little kiss and cut to Evan back at the farm. They're done for the day and it seems like they're done early. And he's kind of like, Angelo, let's go fishing.
Aww.
He's like, my girlfriend's at work. I got nothing to do. And Angelo's like, no.
Uh-oh.
And he just leaves.
Goodbye.
He's just an old Italian man. And so now it's just like pretty shots of the Italian coast and it's just fucking beautiful. And I'm like, does this need to be my next trip?
I think so.
Because
The Amalfi
give it to
Coast
me.
is so fucking gorgeous.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
So Evan's on that same kind of balcony again above like the cliff area. And there's Americans on the beach below him. I know they're Americans because they're wearing
loud
a lot of
American flags.
red, white, and blue flag shit.
Ugh.
And they're playing football and just yelling things like giant douchebag assholes.
Oh, God. We are
Very
the living worst.
Douchey Americans.
Oh, my
You know, we're not
God.
all the same, but Evan's an American. But
in
these are
general,
douchey Americans.
Yeah, if we were to make a gross generalization, it would
We're
be
assholes.
that Americans are generally gross.
Yeah. So Evan's in that museum they were in before, like the little museum with like the bookstore, and he finds a book that has on the cover of it is that old painting with like the two different colored eyed girl. So he grabs it and buys it. And then the camera kind of starts like going around to different things in the museum, and there's another woman with like two different colored eyes and like a different painting that's like
hoo-ha?
different looking.
Okay.
So Evan is in the little town square now, and someone is in the square, like a couple is taking wedding pictures there, and he's just sitting there with the book open, clearly like thinking about what to write inside it. And all of a sudden Beauty comes up.
Hi, girl.
And he's like, what are you doing here? And she's like, I'm walking home from work. And he's like, I got you something, and gives it to her. And she's like, wait, you didn't sign it. So he writes a little something in there, and she reads it, and they smile again.
Cute.
And I'm like, I want to know what his love letters are.
I know.
So Evan's like, there's a lot more tourists here, like now. And she's like, oh, this is just the beginning. Late spring is a madhouse. She's like, but do you want to go somewhere? And he's like, let's go. And she's like, okay, but you can't tell anyone. It's secret. And he's like, all right. And she's like, let's go to my boat. And he's like, you have a boat?
I want a boat.
But it's like a rowboat. So now they're rowing. He's rowing.
Right.
In the ocean, and she's just in the front like singing in German,
Yes,
basically
queen.
like la. And they're going into that cave, and they go inside, and it's fucking beautiful.
Gorgeous.
So they're on the water in the boat with just like underneath the rock, and the ocean is glowing. It's like a glowing bright
From
blue. It's reflected sunlight.
Oh, I was gonna say the phosphorescent little molecules that actually make the water glow.
She says it's from reflected
Bioluminescence.
sunlight.
That's what it is. Okay, keep going.
But it's fucking beautiful. And they start kissing, and then she says something about hormones and biochemistry, and she's like, way to ruin the mood.
Yeah.
And he's like, I think we're taking on water or something. And she's like, stop talking shit about my boat, Evan.
Oh my God, they're so cute.
I just love the way she said it. Stop talking shit about my boat, Evan. So then they're like rowing back, and I just wrote, it's like we just see from like a wide view of just them in the water going back. So now they're at dinner, and Beauty's like, can I ask you something? Do you ever change your clothes?
Uh-oh.
And he's like, yes. All I brought is a backpack, and all they have here is shirts that say I love Bologna on them. But I didn't realize it. But he basically is wearing like the same jacket like the whole time.
That's funny.
And then some American tourist, same dude, basically like yells something douchey at them because like the table next to them is having octopus, and he's like, octopussy.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, oh God. Ugh. But Beauty kind of reaches like inside her jacket to her side, and she like looks at her hand, and it has like goopy brown stuff on it.
Goopy brown stuff. That's so
Question
embarrassing.
5. What does she do? What do you do?
Well, I'm confused as to why this bitch is not carrying syringes with her. So for me, I'm going to carry syringes with me so I can duck into the bathroom. Are you looking for the bell? Pen? I'm going to duck into the bathroom and syringe myself. And what does she do? So they were on a boat in a cave, correct? Mm-hmm. And now they're having dinner at a restaurant type situation.
Yeah, but it's like outside.
But it's
outside here.
Okay. I think she gets awkward, and I think she's like, you know what? I'm not feeling well. I have to go, and I think she ditches him.
And what do you do?
If I have this condition, I'm gonna carry syringes with me, and I'm gonna run into the bathroom and inject whatever I need to inject myself with, because doesn't that kind of make it go away temporarily? It looks like
so.
Yeah, so that's what I'm gonna do.
That's 1.5 points.
Okay.
So she's like, the clinic opens early tomorrow, I gotta go, and she fucking bolts. So now she's in the alley, and it looks like she's in pain.
So did I get the 0.5 point for my answer?
Yeah.
Okay.
And her skin is like graying.
Eesh.
Like shit's just happening intensely.
Yeah.
So, and she's like kind of just like leaning against the wall, and like, and it's weird because like as she touches a wall, like leaves start to grow there.
Oh my. Okay.
So
what is your mythology?
She's like holding herself up on the wall, like her face is like at the wall, so it's just like kind of her hair behind her, and fucking American douchebag comes up.
Oh my God.
In the alleyway, and just sees like a chick there, and is like, what up? I've got weed in my hotel room. Fuck. I don't speak French. And he's like, how much to suck my dick? And he starts to like undo his pants a little bit.
Can she please eat him? Next question for me. Do you eat him or do you not? I do. Eat him. Thank you.
He kind of starts to undo his pants a little bit. So he's behind her because she's like leaning against a wall, and he's like, shh. And he starts to like kind of like, she's wearing a dress, and he starts to lift the back of her jacket, and you see her legs slowly start to like be turning black, like it's like trickling down her leg, like. Yeah. And then we go to the side, like she's on like a corner, so then we kind of like go and see her face, and it's starting to look like a lizard, and then she kind of has like a tail, like a black tail, and her face is kind of black, and we just hear like a growl, and then we hear him scream,
yay, 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 yay,
and see an old lady with white eyes kind of maybe like watching from down the alley. Now it's daytime. We're at the ocean. American douchebag tourist is sprawled out on top of a rock in the ocean with what looks like his testicular area ripped and or eaten off.
I'm fine with that.
Me too.
Could not be more fine with it.
Bye.
Bye. See you later.
So Evan is on his farm of the roof on the farm.
Roof farm?
Roof of the farm.
Roof
House.
of a building on the farm?
Correct.
Got it.
He's unwrapping his hand, and Angelo comes out of the house looking dapper.
Oh, my
And
Angelo.
he's like, where are you going?
Where are you going?
And he's going to, I forget what he says, chase or something. And he's like, come. So Evan follows him, and they kind of stop and sit and talk just in the farm area. It's,
Sure.
Just in the countryside.
Mm-hmm.
Just in the countryside. And Evan's like, any single donna at church? And Angelo says, see. And he's like, maybe you should ask one out.
Oh.
And Angelo's like, I can't.
Why?
My wife.
Oh.
So cut back to the alley. There's bloodstains everywhere.
Good.
And Beauty is now at home, and there's a knock on the door that kind of startles her. It's Evan with flowers. And Beauty's like, this is not a good time. And he kind of is like, trying to get in. And he's like, okay, fine. Come in for a minute if you have to. And he kind of walks in, and she looks out the door, and there's kind of like cops down the alleyway. And he comes in, puts the flowers down, like puts them like away kind of. And the flowers like kind of start to shrivel and die.
Oh, dear.
And Beauty's like, look, I didn't sleep at all. And she's like, look, okay, things just got intense really fast. It's only been like a week. And she's like, we can't see each other anymore. And she's like, there's just things that I need to work through for myself, and it can't be in a relationship to do so, et cetera, et cetera. Fucking tale as old as time.
Right?
I've heard it. Okay. I get it.
Whatever.
No one is ready for a relationship in this world, apparently.
Ugh. Stupid.
So Evan is just trying to like figure it out, and be like, but. And Beauty's like, look, I'd rather just not share my problem with you. Okay. And Evan's like, so what? I leave, and then it's like none of this ever happened. Like we never just see each other again. And it's just sad.
Poor thing.
And he's like, I think that you could be the love of my life.
Oh.
He's like, I think you're amazing. And if you feel something, like anything at all, just think about this, okay? And she's standing like kind of at the doorway, and she just says nothing and like opens the door. So now Evan is walking through the alley, and he punches the wall with his hand.
Evan.
The hand.
Evan. You can't just punch your feelings away.
And he sees, I know, Evan, come on. Hashtag therapy.
Hashtag
We've said it before.
therapy.
We'll say it again.
Yes.
The cops are kind of down the alleyway, like talking to an old lady. And cut to Evan now back at the farm, and he tells Angelo he's leaving. And Angelo's, what happened to your hand? And Evan's like, I hit a wall. She broke up with me. And Angelo goes, stupido.
No. I like Angelo.
He's cute. And Evan's like, look, thank you so much. Like, I really appreciate all of this. Like, very genuine. And Angelo's like, well, don't yet.
What?
And we see down the driveway, there's cops coming.
Oh, no.
Angelo says, immigration.
No.
And Evan's like, should I worry? Angelo says, sí.
What?
And Evan's like, should I run? And Angelo's like, sí.
Oh.
So Evan just starts bolting away like across the farm.
What? Okay.
So now Evan is at like this bar / tiny little store, basically.
Yeah.
And on the TV behind him is like weddings. The only other people in the bar is like a couple that are just making out at the table.
Oh.
And so he's just like drunk talking to the bartender. And he's like,
God, I've been there. Jesus.
oh,
We're just like, why is the environment here to torment me right now?
And he's like, in the States, the cops are after me. I lost my job. I lost my parents. Here, I lost my job. I lost my girlfriend, and the cops are after me.
Poor babe.
Question number 6. Where does he go next? Where do you go next? Your goal is to find love in life. Stay alive and love.
Well, we know how I was in my youth when I liked a boy. I didn't let it go very easily.
I still don't.
Yeah, so I think our friend Evan is going to go back to Beauty's house but he's going to be like, you got to hide me. The cops are coming. Like, he's going to kind of use this to his advantage.
Mm-hmm.
What do? I also am going to go back to Beauty's house. And if she's not into it, then I'm going to go find those friends in Amsterdam. Yay! Like, I'm on the run, bitch.
Cut to Evan outside Beauty's door.
Mm-hmm.
He knocks and he hears glass breaking inside. So he just opens the door, but it has the chain lock on it and he can kind of see through, and there's a table broken inside.
Uh-oh.
Question 7, what do you do? What does he do?
Oh, well, I'm going to break the door down. And because I'm going to assume that, like, she's in danger. So I'm going to fucking karate kick the door down to make sure she's okay. And what is he going to do? Fuck, I think he does the same. He punches and kicks his feelings away.
He breaks open the door.
Yeah.
Inside.
Do we think we could break open a door?
I feel like we could break open a chain lock.
Yeah, a chain lock. If we kicked
With some adrenaline?
Yeah, with some adrenaline. I think our like legs would hurt afterwards once the adrenaline went away, but I think we could kick that open.
I think that we could.
Okay, good to know. Yeah. We'll have to try it.
I think I'm tough as fuck. So I think I could do a lot of things.
I think together we're basically unstoppable.
100%.
Yep.
Agreed. Unstoppable.
Unstoppable!
Kim and Ket, heroes of the world. Unstoppable. He breaks open the door. Inside, Beauty's on the ground with a giant octopus squid legs. I'm talking Ursula, queen of the evil ocean.
Oh,
evil
my
queen of the ocean.
Gosh.
Squid leg situate. Her legs are just giant squid.
So she's like an octomate.
And an arm is a squid arm. And she has a bald head, and her other arm is kind of shiny, like she's maybe transitioning.
Oh my God,
now.
I cannot wait to see this.
Evan runs in and he sees a syringe on the ground, but also his girlfriend is half squid.
Right.
Question 8, what does he do? What do you do?
Okay, here's me. I'm trying to be realistic here. I think I'm going to be like, hello? Are you Beauty? What is happening? Please answer me. Like, I feel like I just need to like assess what's going on here. I need a response, a call and response type of situation. Ultimately, I'm gonna ask her, what do you need? Which
I'm not sure that she can communicate right now.
how do I know it's her? I can
like
see
top
that her face
body is her.
Okay, but you said she was like bald too. So I was like, I
she
just was
seems
like,
bald.
can I identify you is what I'm having trouble with.
Yeah. It's like a quarter her at the top.
All right. So he is positive that it is her is what I'm trying to get
It seems very clear that it's her to me, but
at. Okay.
yeah, it's like quarter her. It's like only the bottom is squid and one arm, basically.
So my goal is to
But the rest is clearly in transition mode.
okay. So my goal is to like live a fulfilling, love-filled life, correct?
Yes.
Okay. I just needed to be clear that that was my goal and not to stay alive, because it was stay alive, it would be whoop, 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 and I run out the door. I think I'm going to hold up the syringe to Squid Lady. Hello? Is this what you need? Yes? Give me a tentacle swing. And then inject her. And I think he probably does the same thing. Otherwise, we wouldn't have seen the shot of like the syringe on the ground and him seeing it. Hello?
Hello? So he grabs it, but Beauty squid arm slaps it away with a tentacle.
Beauty squid arm? What is your deal?
Because also like the table's been knocked over, glass is broken.
So she's just kind of like squidding out.
Squidding out.
Okay.
She's wobbly. And she seems out of control. It doesn't seem like she's in control.
Right. Okay. So she it's not like she's like, no. Like, it's just like she squids at him.
Squids. But he tries again. It gets slapped away. And then he tries again. He injects her in the neck. And then just like huddles up back against the wall like freaking out.
Yeah.
Like, the fuck?
Yeah.
Beauty transitions back into human. Little slimy. Pulls out the syringe from her neck. And says, "Can you shut the door, please?"
Oh.
And
Babels.
there's like a single, not connected to her, moving tentacle on the floor. So now the two of them
squidding out on the floor.
Squidding out. Woo! So now the two of them are at the table. Evan looks fucked.
Why?
And I don't know.
Why is he upset?
There's just some silencio.
Sure.
And finally he says, "Are you a vampire, werewolf, zombie, witch, or alien?"
Or octomate.
And she says, "Human."
That was not one of the choices.
"Are you scared of me?"
A little.
And he's like, "Yeah, but explain it to me."
Oh, what an open-minded fellow.
And she's just like, "Sorry," and shakes her head.
Do you know who would not be open-minded?
Who?
Douche American.
Douche American? No. We would have slapped his dick
like,
off and then
"Can you still suck my dick
choked
as a
him with
squid?"
my tentacle.
Right? Oh my God, tentacle choking.
So question number 9, what does he do? What do you do?
So she won't explain it to him. Mm-mm. I'm going to just walk over and I'm going to hold her face in my hands. And I'm just going to say, "Whenever you're ready, I'm here to listen," and give her a kiss and then sit back down so she doesn't feel pressured. What does he do? I think he's going to press her more to tell him what the fucking deal is.
I'll give you a point because it seems nice.
Mm-hmm.
He gets up and walks out.
I just want her to feel like she can trust me. He gets up and walks
He's
out. Okay.
like emotional.
Yeah.
So she runs after him and she grabs the book with the painting on it, on the cover.
That he gave her?
That he gave her.
Okay.
And he shows it, or she shows it to him, the lady with the 2 different colored eyes. And she says, "That's me." And he's like, "No, it's not." And she's like, "It is. I posed for that painting almost 2,000 years ago."
Oh my God.
And he's like, "This is the kind of crazy that I can't handle."
Handle it, dude.
And she says, "My eyes are like this because of hereditary heterochromia." She's like, "I'm giving them to myself and there's like things I found out in the last 2 decades. He's like, "You dumped me and became a monster." She's
Evan,
like,
calm down.
She's like, "Have you heard of embryonic stem cells?"
Yes.
She says they replicate for a long time and heal quickly. So my body uses the cells so I stay the same age and I heal very fast.
Okay.
And he's like, "Embryonic cells? Wait, are you fucking pregnant?" And she just looks at him and he's like, "Fuck!" She's like, "I conceive, and about a week later, I'm a healthy 20-year-old with 50% new DNA."
That's why she just wants to fuck. Okay.
She's like, "I stay the same age about 20 years, and then I need new cells."
What? So she like kind of eats her own fetus space or embryo kind of thing. Or like her body like absorbs it, sort of.
Her body kind of just absorbs it and takes 50% of that DNA and like keeps her at the same age.
Okay.
And so he's like, "Oh, great. So you just dumped me like once you got mine, you know?"
Evan, this isn't about you right now.
She's
I'm
like,
going to need you to calm down.
And Beauty's like, "Look, you wouldn't even recognize me. I have to start a new life," because she's like 50% a completely new person.
Right. Okay.
And so she's like, "I start a new life. I always do every 20 years. She's like, "I didn't want to hurt you."
Right.
And she's like, "I mean, like physically though, like before I change, my body goes crazy and I start turning into creatures from our evolutionary past." And she's like, "I fucking kill stuff."
Holy shit.
And she's like, "Right now, something is off. Like, I thought I could control it, but then I got desperate. I started looking at occult books." She's like, "I ate my rabbit."
That's really upsetting. Like if you like were a vegetarian and like you truly didn't want to eat meat and all you craved was meat, that would suck.
And she's like, and not for like magic. She's like, there's stem cells in them.
Ugh.
And Evan just kind of walks away and he's like, just give me a minute. And so now they've been kind of walking the whole time and now they've reached like the town square. So there's more people around. Mm-hmm. And so she kind of just stands in the corner of the square and he just goes in and he goes to a payphone and he calls Tommy and he's like, hey dude. Yeah. Hey, like, so I don't know. Do you have a minute to like talk? And he's like, I met a girl. Yeah. She's hot. Yeah. Do you have a sec? And he's like, I think I like got her pregnant. I don't know if she's gonna like give birth to herself or something. And he's like, what? Yeah.
Give birth to herself.
He's like, oh, you smoked a huge bowl and you're drunk. Okay. Yeah. Okay. No problem. I'll call you back.
Oh God. I'm so glad you're not a Tommy.
Oh my God. No.
Oh my God.
But that's the thing. It's like he hadn't even talked to him. It looks like, he hadn't told her. Yeah. Told him about him. So it's like he hangs up. That was his friend, his only friend.
Oh my God, I'm so grateful for you.
Me too.
Oh my God, if my boyfriend was squidding out and eating his own embryonic cells, I know that you would totally be there for me for a phone call.
I fucking would. God. Kim and Ket, the Unstoppables.
I know.
Hello. And he turns around and across the square, he sees Angelo, who's there probably outside church, like in front of like a religious statue. Mm-hmm. And, he's kind of just lighting one of those candles and he's just like holding that picture of his wife and just crying.
Angelo.
So question 10, what does Evan do next and what do you do?
I think he fucking pussies up and he's like, my friends suck. My parents are dead. I want what Angelo has. Every relationship has its struggles. Mine are squid related. I am going to be there for this person.
Well, really, all animals from evolutionary past related.
Sure, but I don't know that he's that immersed in the science of it. I think to him, his brain is just going squid. And I think he's going to go back to her and be like, okay. Let's figure this out and see if we can make this work. Mm-hmm. What do I do? Okay, so I don't have you as a friend. Mm-mm. Peg and Skip are gone. I have no other family. I'm genuinely trying to think if I would do the same thing. I think I would do the same thing. Like, I think it would come to the point where I'd be like, what do I have to lose? Like, even if I lose her in 20 years, it's not like I have anything else going for me right now. So I think he's going to go back and be like, let's figure this out, I guess, Squid Lady.
So he walks back to Beauty and he says, I know it's complicated, but let's talk about this.
Yeah.
So Beauty touches a plant near her and flowers immediately grow.
Wow.
And she's like, it's something chemical. It's like pheromones. So she's like, if I do this to a plant, do you wonder what you're feeling? Ooh. Like, wonder what I'm doing to you with my pheromones.
Yeah.
And he's like,
but he gets a boner and it hits him in the face.
And he's like, but I've seen you. And she's like, in a day, I'll be someone else. So why don't you just keep your limbs attached?
Okay.
And kind of being like, goodbye.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, let's just use the time we have then.
Yeah.
And she says, why?
Because why not, bitch?
A little while longer. He's like,
cares?
let's just be a normal girl and a normal guy. And B says, I'm not in love with you, right?
Rude.
And he's like, well, you like being with me and you like the sex and all that. And she kind of looks at him and like snuggles in his neck and says, you smell good. And you're funny. And I like the closeness. And then she walks away. And he's like, so what are you going to be like when you have like half of me? She's like, I mean, I'm a different personality kind of with my cells. Like, I'll be half you and different things. And they're kind of talking about love somehow. And she's like, look, I'm not giving up eternity for a guy I met a week ago.
But
And then she talks about adult stem cells and how they give only one life. And she's like, so basically that would be choosing death. And she says, I don't choose. And he's like, what? And she's like, nothing. And she's like, I metabolize in a day. So we basically have 24 hours. And he's like, let's go on a 24-hour road trip. Or
24 hours to like fuck and become pregnant. I'm confused.
She has an exact amount of time from when she gets pregnant to when she transitions into like her next person, basically.
But how is she half of him? How will she be half of him? I'm confused.
Because she has 50% new DNA. And it's from the guy who got her pregnant.
Okay.
So she'll be 50% him, kind of.
Okay.
And that will happen basically at sunrise.
Okay.
I don't know if she says this later or not, but it's something about like equinox or something. Like she's like, it'll basically be like sunrise tomorrow.
Okay.
And he's like, let's go on a 24-hour road trip or until you love me. And she says the changes just happen. She's like, I don't actually control it. And he's like, all right, we'll just like have one more day with me.
Mm.
And they see kind of like down the alley, like cops / immigration. And they're both like, we need to get out of here. So now it's nighttime. They're driving and kind of along the side of like a cliff. And Evan says, anybody ever drive off that cliff? And she says, I did about a year ago.
Oh, dear.
And she's like, okay, first hideout, Naples. And they pull, and she's like, pull over. And she starts taking her shirt off and she like sits on top of him. They start making out. And
Squid
he's like,
boobs.
He's like, I didn't know you had a car. And she's like, I have a car, a boat, an apartment in Rome, Paris, Bali, all these things.
Oh, shit.
She's like, she's like, it's like a fucking nightmare though. I constantly have to make new federal ID numbers, et cetera, et cetera. Like every 20 years, she just has to become a new person.
A new person.
And he's like, what's your original name? And she says she doesn't remember. And she's sitting on top of him with like her shirt off. And we kind of see like her back spine kind of start to like slowly peel and bleed a little. And then we hear a little boop, boop. And the lights have flashed on them. And this will be probably more challenging to get. But she kind of just jumps to the side then. And like the cop doesn't come up. It's just like on them. Because they're like steamy on the side of the road. So what does she do and what do you do?
Jumps. They're still in the car?
Yeah, they've been like making out with her top off.
And does the cop is the cop coming up to the car?
No, or he hasn't yet.
So she jumps off of him.
Mm-hmm. And like ducks down in the passenger side.
And then does something?
Mm-hmm.
Blows him. Just kidding. Blows him? I feel like Kim's eyes are telling me that there's a stealthy blowjob happening.
Stop looking at my eyes. I'm trying to read my eyes.
She blows him. I don't know. I guess I'm confused about like
this is a challenging
the goal
answer.
or whatever. So
Your
I'm
goal
just
is
gonna
to not
say
get caught.
I'm just gonna say we both blow him.
You're gonna get 0 points.
0 points. Yeah, I am.
The reason you were getting pulled over is because you were having sexy times.
Okay.
So therefore, blowing him would be the opposite.
Would be the opposite.
Of
No,
getting caught.
I was not clear about like because we had Yeah, I was unclear. Okay.
So she just kind of like reaches her hand up and wipes the little fog off the window and gives a little thumbs up. And the cops leave.
Oh, okay. All right.
Like she's just like, we're not gonna do it.
Yeah.
We're done.
Okay.
That was challenging, but I was like,
also like
interesting.
I'm American. That wouldn't work with American cops.
So now they're kind of stopped at a place and they're sitting on the rocks at like the ocean front. And so he asks her like, why go on the run with me? And she says, well, the first time we sat and talked, it was easy and it stayed easy.
Mm.
And he's like, and the first time we had sex. And she's like, you knew you wanted graves next to each other the first time we had sex.
Oh my God, that's so cute.
And I was like, I love that statement.
I know. That's adorable.
You want graves next to each other.
Oh my God.
That's the dream. That's the dream.
Graves next to each
I
other.
just want someone that want to have graves next to each other.
I love that painting of the two skeletons that are like holding each other underground.
Oh,
you ever seen that?
No, I don't think so.
It's like my favorite.
But Evan's like, no, there wasn't a moment that I knew, but I do know. And then she says, and also you saw me all fucked up and you're still here. And Evan says, like, I like your voice. I like this. I like this. And then
like
they
your
kiss.
squid arms.
And then they kiss. And we see on like the side of her, like from the camera, her hand is like a tentacle.
Oh, no. Oh. Poor little tentacle lady.
So now we're in Naples. We're in the streets. And she's like, no police ever come here. And she like buys a watch off someone on the street. And they're on a balcony rooftop. And he kind of like recaps like her situation again, where it's just like, okay, like you get pregnant a week later. Maybe this is where the equinox thing comes up. But it's like a week later, you
absorb
something,
the DNA,
metabolize into some kind of half new person. That lasts for 20 years. And so basically you live forever.
Okay.
But if you use adult stem cells, like if your body chooses the adult instead of the baby, then you become like, you just stay who you are.
Okay.
And will eventually die. And then you're pregnant.
Okay. So
they're sitting and they see a church, and Evan's like, I've actually never been in one. And she's like, what? She's like, I haven't been in this one since its opening.
Oh.
So then they go in and they're talking about religion and science and how they like intertwine, and like how science like basically just needs to like myths versus everything, and how they need to catch up with each other over time. And she's like, people used to think that people with rabies were vampires. She's like, the science just like hasn't caught up to the myth yet.
Interesting.
For different things. And they're like, yeah, it's really just like a fear of the unknown. And so they're just like sitting in a pew, you know, talking. And she then like lays her head on his shoulder. And we see that side of her cheek has a giant hole in it. And her like skin is like missing by her eyeball.
Oh, no.
And he's just like, did you bring your shots? and he's like, you should probably take one.
You have something in your teeth.
And so she's just like nonchalantly going on and on. She's like, oh, okay. And so she's like reaching into her bag to like get her syringe and stuff. But she's just going on and on about like Prussia in 1760 with like a cemetery, etc., like telling a story.
I would love to talk to someone who's 2,000 years old.
And then like her tail is just starting to kind of like wave around behind her and stuff as she's just like la-di-da-di-da. But eventually she just like gives herself the shot and they leave, and there's two people kind of more in the front of the church, and it was just like a big empty church with like two other people in it. And the lady like looks back and her husband's like, what's wrong? And she's like, a zombie was doing heroin. But like in Italian.
That's funny.
So now they're in a museum and they're looking at like a super old painting, and it has a woman with two different colored eyes. And Evan's like, wow, you're really pouring on the melodrama in this one. Like it's those ones where it's like the Sistine Chapel, like fucking like she's
where
just like a
just,
lady
like,
in the
very
clouds.
dramatic,
Like it's
yeah.
fucking old as fuck.
Right.
And so Evan's like, how many men are you made of? And she's like, you don't want to know. And he's like, I don't. She's like, why are you jealous, Evan?
Oh.
And then he kind of starts doing the math. Like he's like, well, every 20 years, da da da. And she's like, are you judging how many men I've slept with at my age?
Oh my God, I love her.
I
love her.
And he's like, no, like just in the painting. And she says, none. I was 22 years old in that painting.
Oh.
And he's like, a virgin.
Oh.
And then they start making jokes and they're all flirty and talking about the paintings and it's cute, et cetera, et cetera. Now they go into another area where it's just like standing up dead bodies, I think. It's confusing. And they mentioned something about like a bomb shelter. I don't know. But she's like, I just wanted to show you something older than me. And so he kind of is like, so what happens?
Yeah.
And she says, this body dies and the cells recreate a new one.
Okay.
And he's like, what if you use adult cells? Oh, and this is where she says, I'll look exactly the same and I'll be pregnant. And he asks, like, how long do you have? And she says, until equinox. like basically sunrise tomorrow probably. And they kind of start talking about like he's like, oh, like how the fuck do you know when like equinox is? And she's like, we told time differently like when I was young.
Yeah.
Basically.
Right.
So this is where they talk about it's sunrise tomorrow. And he's like, if you just stay with me, like the adult cell way, and I'll give something up too. I'll give up smoking.
Oh.
And she's like, yeah, but then we'll just both end up like these guys. Just fucking dead people.
Well,
and he's like, yeah, in like 50 years, come on. And she says, you want to spend the rest of your life with me?
Yes.
And he's like, yes. She's like, don't you think you're rushing dating, death, and fatherhood?
Oh.
And he says, how do you choose to use adult cells? And she's just kind of, oh, wow, look at this over here. Why don't we look over here? And he's like, how? She's like, I don't. She's like, my body chooses. It's oxytocin. She's like, the hormone that makes women fall in love and get maternal.
Oh.
So she's like, if it's high enough, if the oxytocin is high enough, it's like a survival reaction. And Evan's like, do you know that? And she says, I mean, I'm not sure, but she's like, I can show you the origin of the theory. And so he's like, so you're still not in love with me?
Oh.
And he's like, getting all close up to her face, kind of all like snuggly sweet, like in each other's face. And she just looks up at him with big eyes and she snaps at him with a big monster animal mouth.
Oh, shit.
And he like falls back on the ground and she like quickly like injects herself. And she's like, last syringe. Oh, you still want this?
Yes, bitch.
And he's like, yes. And she's like, okay, I want to show you where I grew up. So he like, she almost bites his face off. And she's like, do you still want this? And she's like, I want to show you where I grew up. Does he go? Do you go?
Evan is
almost got your face bit off.
Evan is fucking sprung, dude. Like Evan is like, spring is sprung. I'm here for this.
And there's no more syringes.
My Ketryn's only reasons for saying no would be because of the connections that I have in my life that I wouldn't do this. If I don't have those connections, I don't know why I wouldn't do this. Like it doesn't make it, I don't have a reason to not do this if I'm in love with someone. I have nothing else. So I think we both are like, yes, queen.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Anything that would be holding me back doesn't exist in this world. So
right. So now it's nighttime. They're driving. And he says, so if you love me, you'll have this hormone and you'll stay. And she's like, in theory, but neither of us like can really know. Mm-hmm. And he's like, I know I'm in love with you. And she's like, you're sure? I mean, you never lusted after anyone. And then like after some time, it was just gone.
I mean... Yeah.
I know. And it's only been a week. And Evan's like, so you've never been in love? Not in thousands of years. And she's like, I mean, I'm not a sociopath. I just had really bad luck.
What a little sweetie. Poor thing.
So now they're walking through basically ruins. And it's like, you know, old-timey Italian ruins. Mm-hmm. And she's kind of tour guiding through. And it seems like this has kind of been like...
She's like, this is my old grocery store.
And it seems like this is a town that I guess was like, they're closer to the volcano now. And this the whole town was like buried by the volcano at one point. Because then she comes to this part and it's just like stone bodies of people like laying on the ground and even like a dog kind of like frozen from the volcano.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Is that real?
I think so.
That's cool.
And so she's like, I want to show you my family. And he's like, oh, I didn't know that there were like tombs in here too. And they kind of just go to another part and it's like the same, it's like 3 bodies.
Oh my gosh.
And she's like, that's my father, that's my mother, and that's my brother.
Ugh.
And it's just stone people on the ground.
I want to go if this is real.
And he's like, but how did you get away in time? And she says, I didn't. And he's like, what? How did you get out? And she's like, well, my body has like this pain threshold for like birthing a new self,
right?
So lava is fine.
Jesus.
But
she's a fucking X-Man.
I know. But she says, my oxytocin theory, I got it from her, and points at her mom.
Oh.
It's hereditary. She gave it all up for me and my father.
Oh my God.
She's like, I don't want to die, and I don't want to watch anyone else die.
Oh my gosh.
And Evan says, at least you got the same backstory as Harry Potter.
Oh my God. I love this movie.
I know.
Oh my
And
God.
Evan's like, I mean, I'm going to miss the hell out of you. Like, it's going to fucking hurt bad. And then they kind of make some more jokes, and it's cute. And she says, okay, well, there's one last thing. Right before I transform, if I do, that monster is going to be the biggest and the sharpest.
Ooh.
And she's like, you just need to run really fast.
Oh, damn.
And she like kind of hands him a bottle of wine. So now they're drinking wine. And it's like that time where it's slowly getting to be morning. Like the sun, we can't see the sun yet at all.
Mm-hmm.
But
But it's like Donnie. looking.
yeah, the sky is no longer as dark blue.
Totally.
You know, it's that gray. And Evan is talking about death and how it's like a motivation to make every second count. And he's like, have you never gotten lonely? And she says, not since I met you. And he's like, isn't it scary losing that? And her hand kind of like starts to like just like a little like make little weird things.
Mm-hmm.
And he just like gets down on his knees like in front and like holds her in his lap. And she's like, what are you doing? And he's like begging. And
Evan.
so then he sits next to her and she just lays down in his lap and he just like holds her and they hold hands. And Beauty says, tell me more about the finite.
Oh, wow.
And he's like, well, okay. When you're sick, you feel lucky for being healthy. And every sunrise and sunset is beautiful. And it's a reminder that you only get so many. So you enjoy them. And it starts to be a kind of slow zoom just onto his face.
Oh.
So now all we can see is him. And he's kind of looking straight ahead, talking. And she's on his lap. And he's like, pizza and a bottle of wine with the right person makes every day better. And we start to see the sun slowly rising behind him. Coffee dates, they take up a lot of time, but they're worth it. And we start to hear kind of like slimy sounds a little bit. And he says, you can choose to work yourself to death, or you can throw it all away for the right person without regrets. Maybe that's chemical, but it's also magic.
Ugh.
He
Get
says,
out of here, Evan.
he says, love comes around a couple times, if you're lucky. We hear crackle, crackle, slime, 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 slime. Life always seems short no matter what. And then we hear kind of like a little like boom, boom, boom in the distance. And he like turns back and it's the volcano kind of just like burping a little,
Sure.
you know, it's not exploding or anything.
Right.
But like smoke kind of starts coming out. So he like looks back at it. He closes his eyes, takes a deep breath, turns back around and he looks down. Her hand is still in his. It's Beauty laying on his lap.
She didn't monster.
She just looks up at him and smiles.
Oh my God.
The end.
The end?
Mm-hmm.
That was like a straight up love story.
I know. I was like, I don't know how horror-filled this is, but it's beautiful, and I cried.
God.
And then I was like, oh, God.
I love that. That is gorgeous.
I know. Wasn't it really pretty?
Dave Lawson,
I know.
you made a horrific love story.
Yeah.
I think I did really well.
You did. And it was honestly like once I watched it, I was like, fuck, there's like not really questions to ask. And I also don't know
Also, I just did really well.
how to give points.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, if it's like just to stay alive, it should be just be to like leave her constantly.
Right.
But like that didn't seem to be the goal, really. It was
Right.
kind of like,
Because it's
wanna
like
be
he's already
alive.
dead.
yeah, it's like you want to be alive and in love. Like you want to have a reason to be alive.
I love it.
Which I think was really beautiful.
Count my points. Hey guys, this is Kat
And Kim.
and we just want to let you know about our brand new Patreon we just launched. You can find us at www.kimandketstayalive.com.
And you'll also find merch on there. Check out our merch store and follow us on social media at kksampodcast. We love you. Bye. Okay. Out of 29 points, you got 22 and a half.
Yay!
So good job.
Thank you. I can't wait to look up pictures of this. It looks fucking gorgeous, and it's going to make me want to go to Italy.
Yeah, I 100% want to go to Italy now.
That is amazing.
And I just want, to have my grave next to someone.
Oh my God. You want your squid love.
I just want my squid love.
It's a great movie. How sweet.
It was really beautiful.
So I guess that's it.
Yeah, so follow us on Instagram and Twitter at kksampodcast. And check out our Patreon or Threadless for merch if you'd like.
Rate, review, and subscribe on Apple Podcasts or wherever else you listen to podcasts, but specifically Apple, if you would be so kind.
And just go, hug your squid love.
Yeah, go find your squid.
Give him a big old smackaroo.
Yeah.
We love you all.
This has been Kim and Kat Stay Alive.
Maybe.
So until next week.
Stay alive.
Stay alive,
And
my
in
little
love.
squids. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Ghosted me.
I'm done.